I think we'll go ahead and get started. If Brian comes in, and we'll just try and have it feed in. I want to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I've asked John Mishler to lead us in the pledge of the flag, and then I'll ask Adam before to have a prayer. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day and our health and our being able to get together and do our job here tonight. And we ask that you look over what goes on here and see that it's done to your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
First of all, I'd like to have our secretary to have a roll call of the commission members.
Thank you. Lane Freiberger, Jim Day.
Here.
Scott Modlin.
Present.
Shona Humphrey.
Here.
David Hoare.
Here.
Adam DeFord.
Here.
John Mishler.
Here.
Brad Shelton. Jeff Sauer.
Here.
Okay, do we have minutes for our last meeting?
We do. These were circulated on December 19th. Minutes of the December 5th meeting, and everybody should receive them except Jim Day, and he has since read them.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve, or is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve this.
John Mishler has made the motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Jim?
I'll second.
Jim has seconded. It's open for discussion. Seeing none, we'll take to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome everyone to the January the 10th meeting, which is our first meeting of this fiscal year of 2012 with Washington County Planning Commission. Everyone who appears before the Planning Commission is entitled to the legal right to due process. Therefore, everyone present who wants to will be given a chance to speak. We will ask that when you are called upon to speak, that you will state your name and address for the record. Okay, we'll move on to the agenda items. I don't know if everybody has seen this, but first of all, I'd like to have verification of the appointed positions. We have purposely put this meeting back a week so that we could have county council and commissioners to have their appointments verified. And as of today, county council, I have been put back on by the county council as their representative. The commissioners has had Scott Modlin put back, and the extension is open as of right now because Brad Shelton has taken another position with Purdue at the Feldman Farms in Bedford. And I don't know if you want to elaborate any more what you see in that, Tom, currently in that position, or?
Yes, the statute is our, did I circulate that to everyone?
I got it.
I don't have my email.
Do you want it for reference?
If you don't mind. The statute calls for the appointment of the county agricultural extension educator. And it says if the county does not have one, then the extension board shall select a resident of the county who's a property owner. It's my understanding from talking with Brad that when we last spoke, that they did intend to appoint one. When that will happen, I'm not sure. So suspect probably we should get in touch with their board and talk about a timetable and see if maybe they want to appoint someone in the interim. But if there is one appointed, that person becomes the appointee to fill that spot. So even if they appointed someone in the interim, I think as I read the statute, once they hire someone, that will be the person filling that position. So if we want to go ahead and ask them maybe to try to fill it in the meantime, I guess we could.
Jim, do you know anything about the extension board or who's all on that?
No, I do not. I do know that they've got applications in for a new CED for the
So they are planning on filling that
They're
position?
planning on filming. They've got applications in already.
Okay. All right.
I just want to offer that to everybody, and you know, Troy Nice, separately.
Go to Dave.
I do know both of those are on it, and then
Okay.
some other members I can't think of off the top of my head,
Well, I realize that that's going to be a vacant position until they make their action on how they're pleased to do that. I'm not going to speak for that extension board, but I find if you're regular, they'll fill it in the short term if they think it's going to be a filled position. So, I mean, it'd be kind of awkward for them to come in a short period of time, one to this.
I don't think it'd be that productive to have someone for 2 to 3 months and ask and replace them with an extension.
yeah, I don't know
Okay. All right, just update where we're at on that. Okay, next thing we got is election of officers. It's by our rules of procedure, 2.02. This is our first meeting. We'll do 2 things in our first meeting here by statute of our rules of procedure. First, we'll have election of officers, and we'll have election of president, vice president, and then we'll have also recognizing our legal counsel for this year too. And then the other thing that we'll have, which is adoption of calendar and meeting place for 2012, which is Rules of Procedures 3.01. And I have circulated out a sheet to you.
You got another one?
Yes. I've got a sheet to you that has some dates. That is the first Monday, except for our first meeting, which is what we're currently having, and then September 3rd, because of Labor Day being switched off. But I have checked up with City Hall. This room is available at these times. So that's the reason that on the September 3rd, it would have been normal. It's the September 10th, which is the next following Monday. So that's for your information. It's at the discretion of this Plan Commission to handle that whichever they wanted, but I thought for information and time and scheduling that I'd go ahead and look at that. So with that, we're going to have an election of officers. I talked to Tom. There's different ways of doing this. In some of the county council, we have the president or the vice president is acting at that time. Go ahead and hold the election, or I can turn it over to Tom to hold the election. What's your preference?
Commissioners, we know take over the meeting until we have the election of the president.
All right.
That's what we used to do in the county council too. They had the attorney do the running.
Well, we didn't have Big Daddy on our county council, one man ship there to keep us in line, so
Okay.
we did a little different the last time. So anyway, Tom, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start with the election of officers for president.
Okay, what I'd recommend is that we elect a president and then turn the meeting back over to that person to continue the meeting in accordance with the rules. So with that, I'll open the meeting up for nominations for president of the Washington County Planning Commission for 2012.
I'll nominate David for president.
I'll second the motion.
I'll move nominations be closed.
I'll second
Oh, that went fast.
I can't write that fast. Okay, we've had a name presented and a motion to close nominations. Is there any discussion on the closure of the nominations or any further nominations? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on the closure of the nominations. All in favor, signify please by raising your right hand. Okay, with that, the nominations are closed. We have before us a motion to make David Orr the president for 2012. And there has previously been called for discussion and not presented. I'll call for a vote by raising your right hand that David Orr be the president for 2012. Okay, with that, I want to thank President Orr and turn the meeting over to him to continue with the nominations.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. We'll go ahead and we have a nomination for vice president. Are there any nominations from the floor? Planning Commission?
Who's our vice president?
Adam.
Adam.
Okay, we have a motion for Adam the floor, vice president. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Wayne Feinberger has made a second.
I move that nominations be closed.
AJ Sowers made known for nomination to be closed. Is there a second?
Second.
Jim Day has made a second. Everything is open for discussion. Seeing none, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor of Adam DeFore to be the vice president of the Planning Commission, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Now, as legal counsel, we have Tom Cyphers as our legal counsel. This is just like a re-verification of him as our legal counsel. Unless anybody else has got a law degree or want to do our legal counsel here, so.
I'll make a motion to approve Tom Cyphers as our legal counsel.
I'll second.
Jim Day, Jeff Souter second. Any discussion? Not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor by retaining Tom Cyphers as legal counsel, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay. Let's go our slate of officers and our legal counsel. Now moving to the calendar and meeting places.
And am I going to presume that that includes the continued duties of
Secretary.
secretary?
Oh, yes, I could. Make that motion to the minute. Good motion.
Verified, okay.
I should have said that motion to the minute.
All right.
A list of possible agenda dates consisting of the first Mondays of the month, except for January and September, has been presented before us with times of 7 o'clock during the longer months and 6:30 during the shorter days, 7 o'clock during the longer periods of daylight, 6:30 during the shorter periods of daylight. I move we accept this as submitted.
Jeff Souter has made the motion to accept the presented possible agenda dates. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Wayne Freiberger has made the second. Any other suggestions?
Yes.
Okay.
Would anyone else be opposed to going to 7 o'clock in April. And it's keeping 7 o'clock through October.
Yeah, I'd like that working for me as well.
Sounds good to me too.
Yeah,
That's
those are
moving.
April, and October, are pretty long.
Actually, to be honest about it, 7 o'clock would work better year-round for me.
I don't ever mind 7 o'clock. You know, 6 o'clock, 6:30 was for, you know, the people who want to get to bed early, you know, kind of thing, in the shorter part of the year, but, I mean, I could go 7 o'clock all year. Perfectly fine.
Me too, then.
But I,
Well, it's eliminates confusion, because there's been confusion
Right.
yeah,
on when it starts, but I'm okay.
So it works for me.
I will revise my motion to switch the times to 7 o'clock year-round.
Okay.
Year round, you say?
yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Who was it that seconded it? Will they allow that amendment?
Oh, I did,
Lane,
You allow that amendment?
yes.
Okay, we have our meeting dates, and I'll just read them on January 10th, which is this current one, February 6th, March the 5th, April 2nd, May the 7th, June the 4th, July the 2nd, August the 6th, September the 10th, October 1st, November 5th, and December the 3rd. And all be 7 o'clock on time. Any more discussion? No, we'll take this to a vote. Marshall, I'll hand you this so that you can go ahead and publicize that too, if it's passed. Seeing no other discussion, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried.
Sometimes maybe 6.
All right, very good. Thank you very much for those. All right. That takes care of our legal responsibilities for our first meeting.
Everything else we do will be illegal for us.
Yeah, legal for the rest of the night, okay. Well, I hope not. I hope we do better than that. Old business, committee reports, subdivision. Jeff, do you have anything else?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Land use, we're basically, I'm gonna step in with Carrie Keller Steele at this point.
Well, mostly what I wanted to do tonight, I think everybody on the board had talked about that they have wanted to be part of the committee to develop the zoning code, is that correct? And then, yes, no, maybe?
I think that, does anybody have any reservations not to be part of the zoning code as a subcommittee? Because we're dealing with land use, we're gonna have a lot of different categories, you know, but we're gonna be dealing with agriculture, you know, as our first initiative.
Is this something we'd be looking at having special meeting times then outside of our meetings to?
Yes.
Because it'll essentially, if everyone's on it, essentially just be a series of special meetings in the entire plan.
And you know, basically, our rules of procedures they'd be our citizen advisory committees, you know, is what would be classified as. You know, not only the planning commission, but other people involved. So it's in our rules of procedure and identified in, you know, as that, so.
And then the next thing is if there's anybody outside of the board, I need your help either with trying to identify those people or some direction on if you'd like for me to, I hate to just do a blanket advertisement for somebody on this board. I'd rather it be, you know, folks that you know that are active in the community. But that's someplace else I need guidance is it just the planning commission? You know, we talked about having no more than 10, so, you know, we've got room for a few more people if you think that, if you know of anybody, or if you would like for me to add somebody to the mailing list at least.
You mean as far as the citizens advisory,
Yes.
how many positions are you wanting?
So 2 or 3 more people.
2 or 3 more people,
We have, so, I mean, how many people do we have in the first?
32.
Arguably, a bunch of these, we still have all those
And
That's probably the best place for us to start, is through what we had with the comprehensive plan.
And it makes sense if you already have a group of people that are familiar with this planning process. You know, I'm not. My experience with these sorts of meetings is if you start with 10, you'll end with 5 or 3, or if you start with 30, you're going to end with 5 or 10. So, you know, I think that it'll wean itself down as the process goes, and I don't have a. If that's something you'd like to see, I don't mind just send a quick mailing out to all 32 or 30 of those folks to say, we're getting ready to start this. If you're interested, here's the meeting time.
Eric Rusby told me he's getting freed up now from what he's not, he was definitely someone who's involved. He was an ex-member of the planning commission, but his mother passed away and he had settled her estate and needed to step aside.
What was his last name?
Rusby, R-U-S-B-Y.
I'll email you tomorrow, John, for his contact information.
Adam might have it
We
already.
got it.
You know, this plan commission is ultimately going to be reviewing the documents and stuff. I mean, we've got these.
I'll just catch up with you during the meeting if that's okay.
We've got different interests, you know, whether, I don't want a committee too big that it can't function.
I agree.
But the people who are involved in comprehensive plan would definitely be a good place to start. And I'm pretty sure there's a list of that someplace.
So as the planning commission, I'd like to get this first meeting scheduled for the next 3 weeks. And
Right.
so is there I guess I'm asking you for direction on who else to invite to that first meeting? Besides, it sounds like Eric, or if you just want me to do a blanket to the group, or if y'all want to look at that group of people first, or...
Well, what will hurt to have maybe an orientation, have the first meeting of interested people to come in
That's fine.
for the first meeting?
Anybody that any of us know that you think might be interested in this, are they welcome to show up at this meeting?
Well, that's what I'd like to see from them participate in the first meeting to see what it's going to entail.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got a list of names here, one of the steering committee. I'm going to read these names off. Leslie Bath, Laura Bishop, Sheenan Campbell, Todd Campbell, Lori Carr, Early Day, Donnie Happer, Pam Hardwick, Greg Hopkins, Burl Jean, Kerry Lewis, Terry McNeely, Kelly Mallett, besides the ones that are already here. So, that may be the bulk of the people.
I'd say that we'll get these and we'll get it copied off, and then we'll get the phone numbers, or we'll make correspondence, but at least invite them, if not more people that we have might be interested. Adam, you have somebody?
I know a couple of big farmers that might be interested.
Seems like Marvin Day was here also.
Urban.
Urban Day.
Yeah.
I said that,
The
didn't I?
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking. Hillsdale was here.
So I'd say that's be our start on that. Well, when do you want to have your first meeting?
Well, I was looking at, part of it is in the agreement, and this might be the sticking point with the meeting, is that because it's here, y'all have access to facilities to meet that I don't. So, my preference would be the last week in January or the first week in February.
You've also got your county government building available, if we can get on the calendar out there too.
Okay, that's what I was hoping, if we could set a tentative time, and then if somebody could chase down a room for us.
In fact, that room kind of dictates a little bit better for committees to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
wanna intermix any of this with our regular meeting?
We'll have the reports, coming back from them, as far as conducting it with our regular meetings.
Yeah, we will already be there anyway. For
That
sure.
would double up.
That's fine, I mean, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm probably gonna come down to give a report for the meeting, so that's fine,
Okay.
Is it common that you have the local planning commission or all the planning commission? That's what I was wondering, you've got a lot of people.
But I think it's okay, because I think that as people get into the nitty-gritty of it, some people will have an interest in different pieces of it, and they'll, you may be more interested in, making sure that the enforcement section is written adequately, or, people will kind of move in and out of those meetings. I doubt very seriously if somebody will attend every meeting and be 100% engaged all the way through the process. So that's kind of, and that's okay, it's either way. I think it's great that you all would be involved, and it certainly makes it easier in terms of meeting planning, if you do want to meet, directly after this meeting or directly before, either way.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting together the first week of February anyway.
Is Travis's name on that list? He needs to be involved in this meeting. Well, he'll be our enforcer.
We can do that as our first meeting and then have it as an orientation too, if you want to.
Okay, sounds good.
February 6th.
Do you want it like in the middle of your regular meeting, or do you want to close your meeting and then have the orientation?
We'll close our meeting.
May I suggest we just have it before?
Meeting one before.
Yeah.
Okay. Step it up to, have it at 5?
I think for your first meeting, an hour, because it's just going to be an orientation, I think we'll be okay with just an hour at the first meeting. Now, from there on out, we're going to need more time to discuss nitty-gritty stuff. But
All right, so 6. And we're going to have a 7 o'clock meeting.
can everybody make it? I know
I'm
Lenny-
gonna be very hard pressed to be here at 6.
Okay.
We can start our regular meeting and close the meeting,
Okay. We'll just start a regular meeting, then we'll open it, and then we'll close it to go into doing that work.
Usually, if not for me, your meetings don't last 20, 30 minutes, so I think it'll be fine. I don't think it'll be too far out.
All right. Let's do that then.
We're gonna leave it at 7?
7.
Leave it 7 to 6.
We'll just make this an agenda item of the regular meeting.
Right. Yeah. Travis, remind me of that. We're going to open the meeting, and we'll close it, for this committee work, and then we'll finish up the meeting, afterwards to close the meeting up. So, anyway, remind me of that when we set the agenda. All right.
Okay.
We'll plan on that. February 6th will be the first. There'll be a combined plan commission meeting and also the first Citizen Advisory Committee.
That's it. 6?
No,
No,
it's
seven.
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 Yeah.
Seven.
We'll just, that'll be part of the agenda of the meeting, we'll just go into that.
My next question is, for the folks on the board, and it doesn't matter if it's a mixed match, I can just take note of who prefers what, but do you prefer, there will be quite a bit of correspondence back and forth on, this is version 1.1, as we make changes, and I want everybody to have that in your hands before the meetings. So I know some of you do email, but would you prefer email updates to all that, or would you prefer snail mail updates to all that?
Email.
Email.
Anybody prefer mail? No? Great.
Hopefully everything else back up. It ain't up for now. I hope mine will be up before then.
That's fine. And I think I have everyone's email from before. When I send out the first one,
Right.
I'll have Sean or David or somebody double check it, make sure I copy it. Great. That's really the only thing we had a contract, but I didn't.
We do have a contract that
All right, Tom, you want to bring that up to?
I would, Carrie and I have been corresponding by email, and she presented a consulting agreement. We made some minor changes, and I have thoroughly reviewed and will present this four-page, or three-page, really, contract to be signed by our president on behalf of the board, but the terms of the contract are as we've already agreed when we agreed to hire her. It just spells out the terms and the scope of the work. So I would like the permission just to go over the services provided.
Please do.
So the consultant will ensure that its employees perform the services as described below. One, the consultant will develop a zoning code ordinance based on the Washington County Comprehensive Plan and in accordance with all federal, state, and local laws. The following items at minimum will be completed to form the client zoning code. A, terminology and definitions. B, districts, which will include the zoning map or maps. C, authorized uses, and there are two subsections, agricultural uses and mobile home parks, and then D, administration. Section 2, the final draft of the ordinance will be approved by committee and taken to the planning commission. 3, the consultant will develop the zoning code ordinance in the following manner. A, consultant will hold and facilitate at a minimum monthly zoning development meetings with the zoning committee. B, the zoning committee will have no more than 10 people. C, the meetings will be held within Washington County and in a location provided by and at the expense of the client. And D, the consultant will update the committee with regular mail and email updates prior to each meeting. As we discussed that, I think the idea was, we need to address that because that was written into the contract. And I think it was the efficiency with which we conduct these meetings to present things to the planning commission. So if we can strike that term, recognizing that some of the meetings will actually be part of this meeting, so there will be fewer of them perhaps, and it will be the local meeting. Or we can agree to pare down the number of members here and limit the number of invitees form this citizens advisory committee. So we either strike that part of the contract or we pare down the actual 10-member committee.
Thoughts?
I guess it all matters as far as efficiency, you know. You said if we start out with 10, we might wind up with 5. It doesn't sound very efficient.
So would it be okay with you if we started out with, say, 12 or 13?
I would not want to start with more than, truthfully, I wouldn't want to start with more than 15 that seem really enthusiastic. I mean, when you first send the first net out, I don't mind it to be a kind of wide net because by and large, most people, it's not incredibly exciting. I think a lot of people just find that it's not exciting and I think the problem will take care of itself. But I do not want more than 10 on that working committee that I, correspond with and, we send out the updates on. We'll just never get it done with more.
Do we need to actually write that into the contract, or would it be good enough to be understood that we could start out with a couple of...
I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not as...
Well, it's a technicality. I mean, the only parties to the contract are us and her. So technically, those are the only people would have standing to complain about it. But we could certainly agree to sign the contract subject to just changing that line to 15 people or something with no more than 15 and on average 10 or something like that.
Or, I mean, if you, I don't know if it has to be pretty or not, but if you want to amend it, then that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. We can just, subject to that subsequent change, so it is pretty.
Somebody want to make that as a motion?
I'll move it.
Adam has made a motion to amend that to 15.
And we'll to accept her contract with that amendment.
Right.
I'll second.
Second, Lane Farberger has been second, so for discussion. I think it's giving an opportunity for people interested, and even on this board, the Plan Commission. I mean, I look at this as possibly, if we have we have an interest in a specific thing in it, and you want to put a task forward to somebody in advisory, maybe not part of that committee, but a task of information and stuff, you know, I'd be welcome to do a task and not be part of the committee. And I like tasks better because they have a timeline and an ending. So, you know, I think that's, and I think it'd be more palatable to people with tasks. I think you'd probably get a little bit more, better information and input, you know, if you had small tasks like that. So you want to put 2 or 3 people together to take a look at, you know, some different things specifically, you know, do that, come back, report it. Just an idea. I know with pork producers, state pork producers, we couldn't get people on committees, but we could get them on task force. Because they had timelines and they knew that what their end was.
Yeah.
So. Anything else? If not, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor of accepting the contract with the amendment, verify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay.
And I'll pass it down to David for signature.
Carrie, do you have anything else you'd like to bring up?
Nope.
So we're lined up for February,
Yep.
being our first meeting, and so.
John, does your list have emails or phone numbers or?
You know, probably the best thing, do you know Scott Bergens from Strategic Development?
Yeah, I know him. I mean, not well, but well enough to contact him.
He probably still has he would email everybody on these subcommittees.
Okay.
He probably has all the names and the emails still. Or actually, I don't know, you save all your emails on then don't you?
I started doing it.
I'll look back, I've had, I don't know, you know, I've had job changes and some of my old computers, I don't have those lists anymore. I try to save all the, so I don't know if I have it on my computer, but maybe Tom.
It seems to me like an appropriate way to do it, so because of the amendment we made, it might be that we want to take a look at the names as people know these people and suggest the top 5 to invite or whatever, because again, I'm afraid if we have our first meeting and I appreciate when I'm talking about the efficiency, it's talking about by the time you hear from everybody and everybody voices something, and when she tries to coordinate, if you're a coordinating person, it just takes longer. It takes longer to have a meeting and it takes longer to respond to individual communications. So does it make sense maybe to take a look at some of those names?
Tonight?
Yeah. Get with her and tell her.
That's probably a good idea.
Well,
I
since
mean-
David likes this task, I mean, maybe we could just have David email me by the 18th, the top 5 names and email addresses.
I think Urban Day is a realtor, you know.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good to have a realtor involved.
Yeah.
Well,
Eric's a realtor.
Oh, he is,
Yeah,
too.
Eric Rhodes is a realtor.
His wife is, is he? His wife is.
They both
They
are.
both have the money?
Yeah, I think so.
He may, I didn't know.
But I mean, Eric is, if we can have him back, you know, it'd be better than we have. I mean, it would be fine, tell the truth.
Eric could be a pretty logical choice for one.
Yeah, he's always been totally up on what's going on.
Right.
I actually think Donnie Hacker would be a good choice too, but I'm not sure about his health. I haven't talked to him in a while.
I haven't heard anything from him for a while.
I've got Eric Brisby's contact information, Karen.
Okay, great, I'll catch you again in the meetings. So Eric's definitely one. Do we have a number two?
Urban Day and Dawn Hacker.
Max, would you be interested in it?
Yeah, I would. I'm planning on running for office this time around, whether that's gonna be a conflict or.
Shouldn't be.
Not to be on the, no.
And Travis,
Give you some practice getting darts thrown at you.
Oh, we do that at home.
And what's your last name, Max?
Green,
Greene.
And, so that's 5. Eric Rusby, Urban Day, and then Dawn, I didn't catch his last name.
Hacker, Hacker.
Okay, Travis Elliott and
Yes, from-
Max Green.
I want to talk to them first, see if they're interested in doing that. They can always show up at the February meeting, and we'll be reading through it at that
Okay.
time.
Is number at 5225. In Washington County, we just talked last numbers.
That's Urban Day you're talking about.
Okay, well, and that's, I get it, you only got 2, it's 5, you get the 5 numbers. So since we're doing numbers, I guess go ahead and give me Eric's.
Okay,
Okay.
his, one number's 812-967-2416,
And then we get it on that.
and his cell phone number is 620-2282. And his email is erusby@gmail.com.
Okay, how about a number for Dawn Hacker?
I've got that over in my office.
I have it out in my truck.
And Travis? Just email me. Okay. Oh, 139.
Shannon, do you have
Well, since you already know the time,
Yeah.
you know to be here. but-
yeah.
But you can get a hold of him through this. He never answers his email. All
Okay.
right.
Gonna have to start.
Yeah.
Secretary.
keep that in mind? I just talking to Shawnee in there, to the rest of the plan commission. This thing where it sits to be thinking of some names and stuff, and we'll weed out there. And like I said, the plan commission's gonna have a final review of the report, so it's not like that we're gonna be dislocated from the function of this. And I don't mind stepping away from that process and work on a specific task and stuff. In fact, I'd rather do that myself, to tell you the truth, so. Anyway, with those numbers, have you got that?
Oh, yeah, I'm not.
All right, well, we can get it to you later.
Sounds good.
Anything else, Carrie?
That's it.
All right. New business, we talked about Brad Shelton's position change at Purdue, and I think it was pretty well explanatory what's happening there. So I'm not, that's the only new agenda item I had. Is there any other new agenda items before the plan commission? I'm gonna relay Travis. I got a call from a Mount. Did you get a call from a Mount this past month?
What was his, you remember his first name?
I don't think it's David Mount, but his last name was Mount.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I can't remember his first name, but I think I talked to him about a
I'll
week
bring
ago.
this up to a point with you. He was supposed to get a hold of you and give the information on what he's really wanting to do. I got a phone call, and I don't, and I anticipate in the near future, we'll get a certain amount of these phone calls, especially in our process of getting rules and ordinances all set up. Whenever it's for a federal firearms retail
Yeah, I talked to him.
as a home business. And they wanted him to get his license to do that. He had to go back to the Plan Commission, and if they didn't have an ordinance or something against, selling firearms from the home, then he needed a letter from us verifying that he was in compliance. We don't have
What's the
it.
compliance? What do you, I mean,
Well,
We don't have an ordinance.
we don't have an ordinance, so
There's no reason.
there's no reason that we can deny it.
And would be no reason to have an ordinance, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
I mean,
So anyway, he asked me if there was anything of that nature, and I said, no, there's not. I said subdivision, but the subdivision doesn't address, issues like that, and this was with the home business. And everybody, to get this firearm license, he was needing a letter from Standing Plan Commission. So, anyway, I told him to get the information to Travis so that I could write a letter addressing exactly what he was after. But he hadn't got the information.
He was gonna call me back if they required a letter, and I've not heard from him since.
So, anyway, to bring you up to date, there's some of those things going on, that's there's nothing on the books, we don't have anything, so I'm addressing that it's not on the books, then they can go ahead and work.
I do have some new business.
Okay?
Okay. We've got our first application for the beach is going to the license. Do you have that with you, Tom, that application?
Okay. Well, I handed it back to you and said it was, you handed it to me at the meeting, I had it back to you and said it goes to
We really don't have a procedure, we're still kind of in limbo.
John, we can't hear you.
Okay. Well, we're in limbo because we don't have anything really to tell Travis what to do. The commissioners remember on our last meeting, what is the way the ordinance reads right now, there's a 750-foot setback.
from existing residents.
Yeah, there's something about has to meet the item, if it's regulated by, this one.
Yeah, if it's
If it's regulated by item, then there's a 750-foot setback. So what that ordinance is saying is if it's not regulated by item, there is no setbacks.
Right, he's grown for Tyson, he's gonna be regulated by it.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten notice of it.
Yeah, but that's still right, but it still brings up the fact that for county setback ordinance that we have is not going to affect anybody under item regulations. Do we want to wait until?
That's what she's doing.
Right.
We just made.
So we're just going to have to wait until we get all.
We just made
the stuff.
Shona Humphrey jump through
And I passed.
that.
That's the whole.
Okay, so what do we do? What do we do in your case, John? How do we do?
Travis Elliott came out with this 100-foot tape measure and discovered how far 750 feet was, going through the trees and the brush.
We need to buy cars for those little wheels.
So I think that would be a good idea to find an easier way to do that, because there's a lot of different terrain.
Nice little
who's
Adam
the
made a
head
statement
of
that
the
all
whole
prices are regulated by him. I don't think that's true.
That's not true. Yeah, that's not true.
Can you put in a chicken house and be under Tyson, be under IDEM?
I got a whole list. With my new job, there are no customers of mine now. So I know I've been to about I think I've been to every poultry operation in Washington County over the last 60 days.
I just want to clarify, sir, my understanding.
What's the, well, I'm just Brad, see, he always remembered all this stuff. What was the
Here's
30,000.
Here's what I can tell you.
30,000.
Okay. Doesn't, one household over 30,000 birds, I think it does.
If you have a layer, it would.
There's certain.
Okay, if you have a layer, it would, any broiler house is gonna hold a.
Most likely the broiler houses are gonna be up above that, but the layers will not. They'll probably be around 10 or 12,000.
I was gonna say that even your broiler houses, usually if it's 2 chicken houses or less, ones that I've seen when they hit the radar screen for item is when there's 3 buildings usually.
No, my neighbor's did too.
Who was that?
Mark Bush. He'd do every item thing.
He had 2?
Yeah.
Maybe in the sun. Well,
Didn't he already have 2 barns?
Right, but he had to do it for the for the first 2.
Because it was wetter.
And the second one's it's a separate farm. You know, it's not even the same operation. One's Mark Bush Farms, the other one's like About Time Farms.
I mean, the bulk of them are.
But he's got 70,000 birdies in 2 houses.
That's where they get rid of it, but it's
Right.
already about it.
Yeah, the house
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
30,000
People
pieces.
in 2 different names. You get
Well,
rid
it depends whether you have turkeys too, because turkeys are less.
Right, but Tyson doesn't buy turkeys.
Right.
If it's Tyson, it's gonna be chickens. And I don't think a Tyson chicken house holds less than 30,000 birds.
They're all different.
At one point in time, Tyson required their people to have permits. I don't know if that's the case still, but as in 2004
Right.
or 5, even if they didn't have the numbers, they required their people to get permits. Again, I don't know if that's still the case, but
Okay, I think the ones I've run across that are item are ones that they're laying the eggs.
Yeah, see, they're different, that would be the difference right there.
Yeah. And I think that's mainly,
Well, you know, not just talking about, the one thing I'm seeing as avoiding that was brought up to my attention today, in that we are still being bypassed a certain amount on construction of ordinances of doing the Rule 5, you know, and that list of things that, as far as getting a building permit, the different things as far as what you do. And we've got a lot of building construction that's still going on in the county where there's not getting the building permit and not going through the steps. And one of them that's being put off to the side is Rule 5. That's the construction erosion plan. But, you know, how do we go about that? Okay? I mean, here we are at a plan commission, even though we have an incomplete rule, there are certain things that are still on the books, you know, to be enforced. And one of them is, 10 steps. Now, even when the commissioners had it themselves, it wasn't enforced.
Rule 5, Sean, isn't that the soil water district? Okay. Sean knows all about Rule 5.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, see, the Rule 5, that's a state thing. I don't know that, we have any jurisdiction over that at all. I mean, people, if people are doing projects that disturb over an acre of ground, which I believe is the criteria for meeting Rule 5, people just need to contact the soil and water office and alert them to what is going on. I don't think the county planning commission has any.
Still, we've got a building permits, it's got buildings, we still got that, and we got buildings going on without permitting.
What kind of building? Any kind of building?
Well, anywhere from garages with floors in them to chicken houses. I had the Tyson farm that didn't have a building permit.
Does Washington counties, do we require a building permit for a barn without a floor? Okay, well, Tyson buildings don't have floors in it.
So that would make an exemption.
We don't require a permit unless you're running electric to it, right? Sometimes, what's the deal on that?
Use, any structure used for a residence, basically.
So it doesn't,
So, you know, like agricultural structures. But if you turn around and build like a garage that will attach to the residence, yes, that requires a permit.
But a standalone garage, drained in,
Something like that, no.
right, none of that's required to have a building
So
permit.
even a confined feeding operation that would have a concrete pit, then that would have to have a building permit.
Not necessarily.
Not through the county, not through us.
Okay. Okay.
One thing that people starting something like this would look into really early on in the process is water. They would look to see, you know, what size water line is out on the road, because they usually need about a 2-inch meter. So, I think the girl came into, kind of problem way back when with water, and the water company, at least East Washington, rural got, more involved in these confined feeding operation projects. And I think people were supposed to go before the board and actually talk to them before they could actually commit to something like this. But, I mean, it's an idea of maybe teaming up or, it's quite a process to go through getting these barns. And I think people want to know what the rules are up front, who do I contact, what do I do? They don't want to come back and say, oh, I was supposed to go before the planning commission and I already have my permit. It's frustrating.
Right.
So first thing is water. Water is very important. Maybe teaming up with the water company or having somebody sit on the board or in the subcommittee that is from the water company or.
Ken, I don't know legality-wise, Tom, you might shed a little light on this. Before the planning commission gives authorization to a confined feeding operation, can one of our checklist things be that they have to have their Rule 5? Are we allowed to do that?
Sure. I don't know why not.
I wouldn't see why not either. I mean, if you want to enforce Rule 5, that's.
They wouldn't necessarily, all of them, if they would be disturbed.
I have a suggestion on
Yes.
that though. One of the problems with saying that you have to have your item permit or a Rule 5 permit prior to having the Planning Commission approval is that usually if you're paying a consultant, if you don't have a Shauna that's in the county that can do a Rule 5 relatively easily because she's so familiar with the county, it's a big expense to get those 2 permits. Usually the Plan Commission is the cheapest permit you can get, so that's usually where you start. And most Plan Commissions end up saying that, the approval is based on the contingencies of receiving a Rule 5 and receiving an item permit. So that the process would be they would come through here first and you'd say, okay, as long as you can get everything else, we're all right with it. And then before Travis would issue any kind of an okay to start building, they would have to bring proof that they've got those 2.
How to do that is to have a permit application and an actual permit. That's what they used to do at the health department, when I cleaned septic all the time. The guy would come in and fill out an application. When he filled out his application, the health department would go out to his site, or the builder, me, or both. We would actually I would have to meet with the health department at the site and physically make sure that this was going to work before the guy spent any money.
Well, and that's the thing, is to make sure that they get that, we spent several $1,000s in an item permit and had the county turn us down, and it was just money, we just flushed down the drain.
Right.
So that's why it's important to make sure that you get however that process works, that's my only piece of advice, is that, you guys come first with contingencies.
Right. When the when the person wanted to start the process, they'd come in and fill out a permit application. On it would be the checklist. The first thing on the checklist would be for Travis to go make sure that it worked. And then they could go from there. But once the application process was completed, before we issued, permit to do the thing, one of those things on the checklist could be the Rule 5.
Right.
That would be.
As long as Travis is okay, is the final okay.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean? Like,
But
yeah,
it has to be the first okay, too.
right, oh, yeah, I
Right.
mean, yeah, I think we're on the
First and
same
the
page.
last, right, yeah, is what you're, yeah.
Well, those are gonna be the issues coming up, with it. And we gotta look at it, of course, this Rule 5 and some of the other things with construction. It doesn't matter if it's the agricultural buildings and stuff. We had 3 years ago, it was longer than that, medical building down on 60 at Pekin did not have a Rule 5 permit. And that was done by the hospital, off of the local contractor, and they didn't have a Rule 5, and it needed it. I mean, it was supposed to have it. Well, what it come up to was that there was an IDM inspector that was working on a job and a project down on a different road construction that was going on, and she drove by it every day. So she just stopped up at the soil conservation office and saw that there wasn't any sediment fences or anything around it, and asked for the Rule 5 permit. There wasn't any. And there wasn't been an application or anything. So it had been a lot simpler for that contractor to work with the Rule 5 and put sediment fences, because he ended up putting the sediment fences and they stopped the work for a while till everything was in compliance. So there's a reason for certain things to be done in an order. But where I'm going at right now, we're kind of an open cannon right now with what happens in the county. They don't know that the direction needs to go through the building permit, through the planning commission. And it's not that we're going to refuse them. It's just that they know that the process has started and that there is a certain order that's on the books on the county right now.
And this is for
I think the best thing to do,
CFOs.
Right.
We're talking CFOs, everybody that's
Right.
under the numbers.
Right, but that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about doing all this for somebody to
No, that whenever they're putting on medical facilities up and
Right.
stuff like that,
Right.
they
Right.
we should get whatever requirements the planning commission can have, we should give it to Tyson, all of us,
That's a good idea.
and, Trey Martin, this person for Tyson. Yeah, if we get to him, anyone that goes in to talk to them first, they can hand down, this is what your county is going to be requiring.
Yeah, give them a permit application.
That's where people are gonna start anyway,
That's where
they're
we're
gonna go to
starting.
Tyson's, Farm West, those kind
Yeah.
of places.
So if we can just get to people like Trey Martin, Jake Couch, would be the person that follow this. I'm not sure it's any good. I don't think Purdue's building any more farms, is it? It's just those, none of those two. We get it to them, and then I think that'd probably solve all of it.
Well, Jay made a testimony in there. He said they don't have any problems with it as long as they know what the rules are.
Yeah. It would help them.
And there's nothing that's too stringent in there right now anyway. Okay, anything else, John? Yeah, we had enough discussion on that, we kind of know, Lane, you.
So I gotta ask the question, do we need to generate a checklist kind of early on, a permitting application, kind of early on to help implement this kind of thing, to give it to Farvest, to give it to Tyson, to say this is the procedure, starts with Travis.
There's already an ordinance on the books, so that's fine. I mean, there's something for the planning commission to enforce, so.
I think that's probably the start, because there is already a checklist out there. Do we have that as a document?
I don't know if I have it with me, but it's a relatively simple
Yeah,
document that just basically what it did, and I want to clarify that until it's amended by this new ordinance that we're drafting and that amendment adopted by the commissioners, there is an existing ordinance that is still in force, in effect. So, and the procedure is that it has to be, the only thing we amended was the procedure here, and the commissioners agreed that from now on, rather than the commissioners being the enforcing agent, that the plan director, Travis Elliott, would be the one to go out and check these three setbacks. And it's really only conceivable in the interim that one setback's going to come into play, and that's the residential setback.
if I get a recommendation is that we pull that document out, we get that copy, circulate it to the planning commission and also to Carrie.
But if someone's gonna grow flower beds.
Here's the orders of the board of commissioners right here. What you put down, start with, is it in that one? It's not, okay.
Sean, is anybody in Washington County that's going flower beds not regularly? Is Steve Miller? I didn't think he
He's
would.
under the numbers.
He's under the numbers.
It's just new feeders. They have a.
Because when you get into turkeys, there's just not, they don't have
They're
as
so
many.
big.
They're so big, but those are the ones you're gonna run into some of the turkey barns, and you're gonna run into the ones that are delayed. Those are the ones that are gonna fall through the cracks.
Right. That's why she's running the ordinance.
Right, I know. Well, for right now, I guess just.
There's
I think we need to review that ordinance, as currently written. Right now, we need to review it.
Because, if someone does go, I think Flower Best is trying to be a good neighbor. They're not gonna just stick something really close,
Well, Tyson Foods is a good neighbor
and,
too.
and Tyson, so, but, so right now, there's basically a loophole. It's basically unregulated. On your item.
There's still Rule 5
Other than the
required, so.
I would, if I may, John, and I don't know if this helps you any, but if everybody has a feeling that, whatever we as a group work on for a new zoning code, that it's, you have a reasonable expectation it's going to be adopted and that it will be your new ordinance, it would be, in my opinion, as an outsider, sort of fruitless to have an interim rule, because people don't shift gears that quickly. And so if you, let's say, in the month of February, the commissioners say, we're going to amend our current ordinance to include, anytime you build a barn that has more than 10 animals in it or whatever, when we shift gears in another year, it will be a harder transition than it currently is. And so from an outside point of view, I would sit tight and we'll get this done as quickly as we can, rather than, because the other thing is no matter what you put in, the next regulation, inherently, no matter if you're talking about chicken barns or air quality, is never any less restrictive. So if, the 3 commissioners decide, the 10 animal units, then it dictates a precedent that our code will have to go to 10 animal units. So my advice is just to sit tight. I know it's a problem, but we'll work through it as quickly as we can.
Well, what generated my question though was more not wanting to amend an ordinance, but a public awareness thing. If people are either deliberately or by accident not coming to the planning commission or the planning director, should we do something to educate builders that, they need to go through Travis?
I think letting the companies.
I think that's the only way to do it.
Is the best thing we can do, so that they're aware that when someone's applying to them to be a producer, that the company knows that Washington County has an ordinance.
right now.
The excavations first, not the builder.
Oh,
We
yeah.
gotta get that one five first.
Well, he means,
But I mean, if
he means
Farm
the
Vest-
builder by, as far as advertising.
If
So
Farm
the
Vest
illustrator.
know
Producer.
that the people that are going to be growers or farmers for them are gonna have to go before the planning commission, and hopefully they will notify that person, that farmer, that, hey, you're gonna have to go before the
Okay. Any other new business? Lane? Jim? Scott? Connor? Adam? John? Jeff? We'll open it up to the audience. Do you have any remarks, questions, comments? Well, if not, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Jeff?
I'll second.
Primary second.
Purdue clean or something?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, could stay here. Thank you. Marcia, did you get that?
I got the dates. Can I get people to start? Sure. Sure, I got the local page on my insurance.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
What's your email address? So back in 05.
Thanks.
I'll try to find Donnie Packers.
Sounds great, I appreciate it.
Max, you running?